When caught, you swing and burn down in Swampland. Better than food, man. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I'm your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Great to see you as always. It's been a while. This was a gift from a very kind fan of the show, Ryan. I have been procrastinating this review for quite some time, so I'm thrilled to get to it. Today is Nick Cave's And the Ass Saw the Angel. Yeah. The revisited version. I actually reread this. I read it years ago, but I decided to reread the whole thing this winter because I had read it in my early 20s when I was visiting Portugal, actually. And I am not sure what was changed about this version and that version. So I decided to reread it. I just had a birthday, so I'm 30 now, practically dead. That was a sparkling water, unfortunately, not beer. And it's pink. I've never lived in a place where it's so cold your skin cracks open and bleeds. Everything is harsh and heavy and severe here in the Midwest and loud as fuck! Apologies, everyone. Winter is the season for Nick Cave, definitely. I spent this last winter intermittently reading And the Ass Saw the Angel, as all of Detroit froze the fuck over. The Birthday Party, Nick Cave's project pre-Bad Seeds and my favorite band, definitely, were nothing if not disruptive. In every sense of the word. They've been one of my personal obsessions for about a decade now. It's the first band I saw that actually looked dangerous. Like, looked as dangerous as they sounded. Genuinely frightening and depraved and demented. So throughout the time of The Birthday Party, throughout the lifetime of that band, the ideas for this novel, Nick Cave's first novel, were brewing, as well as through the time of the early Bad Seeds. And he worked on it for about 5 years, living in Berlin. And the Ass Saw the Angel is the bitter, empowering scream, or war cry of a mute lowlife beyond redemption. A cursed soul who has no hope, no voice, and nothing to lose. It's Notes from Underground meets Frankenstein meets a backwoods swamp retelling of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's fucking dope. Watch the video Nick the Stripper. This is the world that the book inhabits. A psychosexual white trash murder carnival. Unsurprisingly, it reads like Cave's lyrics, using extreme counterpoints of beauty and the grotesque. It's one gargantuan mythological lamentation written in dialect, purposefully misspelled or pronounced, like Southern, or lower class, purposefully mispronounced or misspelled to make it sound natural, to make it sound like colloquial speech. To be, to not be, to be not anymore. I'm not asking you a question. I sink, therefore I am. Yes, am not. Am to be, am not to be? I mean, what would your advice have been? What measures would you have taken if you were in my boots? I wonder. The story is told by the mute martyr, Euchred Ukro, at the end of his life as he's sinking into the bog of the swampland, gradually being engulfed, descending into whatever. As he descends, he relates his story. Since he's mute, you're privy to the thoughts in his head, as he bears his cross in life, the son of two outrageously hideous backwoods lowlifes. One, a man who traps animals and then makes them fight one another in this enormous empty water tank, turned into some sort of nightmarish gladiatorial dome, and the other, an obese alcoholic of the most demented variety. Euchred knows only the pains of life in the Eucalor Valley, where this book takes place, this fictional valley full of sugarcane. His only pleasures coming from his voyeurism of the inhabitants, or his time spent alone in his own thoughts and world, which is eventually manifested in a junkyard kingdom he builds, which he calls Doghead, where he plans his final showdown with the townsfolk, and the inevitable death he'll face at their hand. Cave wrote this in Berlin around 87 or 88, living in a room that looks similar in squalor to the descriptions of Euchred's lair. Pictures of saints and pornography, fetishistic pieces of women's hair he found at a German flea market. There's a whole documentary on this, and it's terrific. If you watch that movie, B-Movie, something in Berlin, It was great with all that awesome old footage of bands and characters from the era. This is, if you were into that, then I would check this out. What is it about that city? It's a story of the most repulsive kind of self-obsession with the lowest qualities of oneself. An alter ego of the most decrepit variety. An excoriating portrait of a killer as a huckery young man. Huckery, ain't that a good word? Huckery! To put it lightly, it's completely fucked up. The Bible is referenced. Euclid is spoken to by God. Classic tropes. He has a personal relationship with him. There are so many elements of lore, prophecy, and destiny. The foretold, right? At least in his head, in Euclid's mind. Everything seems like it could be no other way. All of it leads to his inevitable fate, the inevitable killing. So much of the book plays with this language which Euclid speaks or thinks in. It's really one of the unique factors about the book, maybe the thing that I enjoy most about it. According to Cave, it's this mongrel language, a strange conglomeration of high and low. Biblical speak combined with gutter slang, and then with these words that are so obscure that you would only know their definition if you had a dictionary nearby. Words that nobody would use in normal speech. And all of these elements create this contradictory, carnivalesque, depraved and occasionally humorous sing-song mental rhyming as he relates his tale of violence. This is the real strength of the novel, the fun with language, the fun with words. And it's almost like just like Cave's almost like using these lines that he just can't get out of his head that just keep circling around in there and hitting the walls and going back and forth and back and forth. And it's like almost like it's kind of like cathartic in the form of this character. It's like he starts thinking in rhyme and then he gets pissed off occasionally in the book that he keeps thinking these ways. He can't stop. The rhymes won't stop coming. It's interesting to see that. It's funny. It takes place in America, but it's a fictional South. It's not. It's like America. I read somewhere that it was combined with like the Australian outback, maybe, and it's like this place doesn't exist. This valley, is completely fictitious, and it takes place in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe. So the 20th century, but it's like there's no research done on this book. It's completely fake. It's this valley full of sugarcane with dirty workers and religious zealots. Essentially, the story is about Euclid's vengeance upon the world into which he was born. You've sentenced me to pain and suffering, now watch me conquer you, right? Since Cave was on or maybe kicking heroin around that time, inevitably that will come up as a point of comparison. And yeah, it's worth meditating on. I mean, just listen to Mutiny in Heaven, which is off of that last Birthday Party album, which is, that song is, it's about heroin, but that almost seems to be making it cheap, for lack of better terms. I mean, because the song is fucking amazing. Euclid is not on smack, but certainly lives like a junkie. His only sustenance mentioned being this homemade moonshine called White Jesus. Euclid becomes fixated on this girl in town, who is revered as something like a saint, or she's holy in some fashion. Beth, the daughter of this murdered prostitute in the book, who was one of the only people to show kindness to Euclid. When Beth is brought as an infant to town, the rain, which has been ravaging the valley for years, finally stops. So donning a captain's jacket he finds in a trunk, he builds his kingdom, setting traps and waiting for the Bible-thumping denizens of the town and valley to come after him. The relentless paranoia found in the book is the same kind found in Cave's lyrics. The book is actually sort of an extension of a lot of his songs. Like I said, just listen to Mutiny in Heaven, or Junkyard, or Swampland. These are the songs of that world. All the tropes found in his music are present. Murder, the macabre, sexual violence, shame, and fevered old-time Bible-thumping religion. That's the pleasure of reading the novel for me, because I enjoy Cave's lyrics. There's plenty of sick and eerie imagery to entertain anyone who enjoys Cormac McCarthy, Harry Crews, Donald Ray Pollock, Flannery O'Connor, and of course William Faulkner. Oh, all the Southern Gothic stuff. This definitely, if you like any of that, yeah, it's an obvious choice. I think you'll enjoy it. I will mention it's a meandering and occasionally repetitive narrative, and a dissolute, self-pitying misanthrope of a protagonist. But the sheer chaotic creativity is without question unique in its hallucinatory vision and its fear. Its nervous creeping and explosive psychological distress. That is what Nick Cave is good at. A pleasant, tranquil read, this sure as hell ain't. So if you feel like you've had it up to here with positivity, if the books and culture you've been engaging with recently have left you feeling to use a colorful phrase employed by the author at one point, gangbanged by marshmallows. Look no further. And that's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoy it. I love this one. Cover your ears if you're easily offended. I found myself wishing, praying that the noonday sun, already hell hot, would spin itself still hotter until the vast acres of uncut cane would begin to smolder and smoke, and the skin of the workers would bubble and blister, and as the sun beat down and the crops burst into flames, the roasted flesh would peel away from their arms and legs and backs and screaming faces in wet red strips, layer upon layer, until their black-baked bones pierced the thin tissue of skin, shredding the webbery of veins and the last tattered rags of hide to a bucket of gore, then crumbling down, these eaten skeletons, to ash, to a thimble of cinders, to screaming dust, to dead fucking death. Fearing that I would be the one to burst into flames if I continued to entertain such incendiary thoughts, I cast my eyes elsewhere. It's funny. It's dark. Like, you know, black as coal humor, but it's it's not without a sense of humor. You know, Henry Rollins is a big fan of The Birthday Party and Nick Cave, and he was doing some live show. You know, his stand-up, his speaking. You know, and he was talking about the first time he saw The Birthday Party or something like that, and he did that bit from Swampland, and it sounded like he did like the whole scream and everything, and you know, it was completely like, I'm sure like nobody in the audience knew who the band was, but he was just like talking about him because he was so passionate about it, and when he got to that scream, it just sounded like he just was living to do that, and just like he was having so much fun. And I couldn't find the clip, but I'm sure it's somewhere out there. Anyways, please subscribe if you have not already. Many more book reviews on the way now that I'm back to this, which I am very happy to be. Hope you're all doing very well. Great to see you as always. What you been reading? Tell me all about it. Hit me up on Instagram. I think Instagram is the best way to get a hold of me these days. I killed Facebook and Twitter, and I have absolutely no regrets. I buried them deep in the ground after pouring gasoline on them and lighting them on fire. Don't tell anyone. Better Than Food. Time for the Coffee Lottery. For those of you who are new, the Coffee Lottery is where I take the names of all the patrons on Patreon, I stick them in this mason jar, and then I pull out a name for each review that I do. And whoever's name I pull out, I send them a hard copy of the book I'm reviewing, plus a bag of coffee that I roast myself. So if you would like to get in on that, you could head over to patreon.com/books-are-better-than-food and donate $5 or more per video. I really appreciate it. It keeps this whole thing going. And I love doing this. It's a lot of fun. Best of luck to all the patrons who have donated so far, and yeah, here we go. Oh. I was just talking to him. John C. Hey man, what's up, dude? We were just having a conversation. That's really, that's, you know, what are the odds? Interesting. Anyways, thanks, John. How convenient. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more book reviews. Hope you enjoyed this. Hit me up on Instagram. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Hope this made your day better. Die reading. Take care. Ciao.